You probably think that the best way to play chess is to just go for the center with moves like e4 and d4. Now this game will help us understand just how important the center actually is in chess. Now white played d4 here, and after c6 he went for the full center with e4. We played knight f6 here. This seems to go against the common principles, you know, that you want to fight for the center with your pawns at the start. Let's see if that's actually important. Now white here played e5, attacking the knight and grabbing even more space in the center. After knight to d5, c4, knight to c7 and f4. And it's already seen that white has a huge control of the center. We can also see its effects. Our pieces are kind of cramped here on the first three rows because we don't control any more squares here on the fourth row, and we also can't simply jump there with our pieces because he controls these squares with his pawns, of course. This also gives him much more space for his pieces to develop. And you know, the knight could jump here because he has so much space here in the center. But is this really such a problem for us? Let's see. Here we play g6. We need to develop somehow, and we're gonna play bishop to g7, of course. After bishop to e3, he's simply developing. We castle. The interesting thing about the center is that we don't have to attack it immediately in the opening, but we will absolutely have to do it at some point in the game. Because if we don't, well, we're just gonna have no spaces to move. He's just gonna play something like knight to c3, d5, and our pieces here are just gonna be stuck there, and we won't have any good moves because the pawns are attacking all the squares here, and we're just cramped. And he's just gonna slowly build up even more space and suffocate us. Or maybe even build up a strong attack here on the king side because he has much more space for his pieces to join the attack. Meanwhile, our pieces are not going to be able to join the defense. So he's just gonna crush us either way. But it's not all that bad. The bad side of having the center is that if it crumbles hard. If his center crumbles, he's gonna have a lot of weak pawns and a lot of weak squares, which we can then attack and exploit. Here we played d6, slowly but surely putting some pressure here on the center pawns. White castled here, and we played bishop to g4. After knight to c3, we played knight to d7, just developing our pieces and again putting some more pressure here on the center. After queen to e1, now this is another interesting moment in the game where it's best to just give up your bishop for the knight, because this bishop was pretty awkward here. It didn't have any good squares, and the knight was a pretty good piece here, also protecting the center. So that's why we just exchanged the bishop for the knight, letting him have the bishop pair, which is usually not a good idea, but we will see why it's a good idea here. Now it's time for us to go into action, because he still has a strong center, we don't have a lot of space here, and if we do nothing, you can see that this rook is gonna start attacking us here. So we have to do something. And we just took here on e5. After he recaptures, what do we do here, guys? What do we do? He still has a really big center, and he just opened up his other bishop. His two bishops are looking at our king, and we need to do something as quickly as possible. The move, of course, is c5. Guys, this is a really beautiful move. Like I said before, the weakness of having a big center is that it can crumble. Now, if white decides to just take this pawn here on c5, we can see that his center has finally crumbled. And we can just take the pawn on e5, attacking the rook and the bishop. He has no center whatsoever, and he's gonna lose material. So this is not an option for white. That's why he played rook to h3, just trying to attack us quickly. So now we just destroyed his center by taking the pawn on d4, of course, and then playing knight to e6. You can see now that there aren't any pawns in the center, so we can finally freely move with our pieces. And he has a weakness here, an isolated pawn, we're also attacking his bishop, so he's gonna have to move it. And after he does, we're just gonna win this weak pawn. And just like that, guys, we're a pawn up now. So the center is gone, and now what we need to do is just not blunder anything and just defend. So here we played queen to c7, which is a blunder, because he could have played queen to h4 here, and after h5 he has some crazy queen sacrifice. But okay, let's leave it at that. He didn't play queen to h4, he played bishop to h6. Now because his center fell apart and he's a pawn down, he started to panic and he just wanted to quickly attack us here. You know, just take the bishop, go here with the queen and just attack us quickly. But this move also gives up another pawn here. So now we are 2 pawns up and we're gonna try to defend this now. After he takes it, we recapture and queen to e3. Now he wants to go here to h6, which prevents us from playing h5. So we have to do something, and we just played h5, of course, stopping this rook from being effective anymore. Here he got really desperate and just sacrificed his bishop, after which we, of course, could have just taken the bishop, but we have something even more beautiful. Knight to g4, attacking the queen, and after he moves, queen check. Now, of course, if he moves there, we're just gonna checkmate him on the next move, and if he moves there, we have a beautiful smothered mate, of course. Queen to g1, and after he takes, knight f2 checkmate. So when I was playing this, I didn't know any theory whatsoever, guys, and I just wanted to test how important the center actually is. And as we found out, it's not crucial to fight for the center immediately out of the opening, but you have to do it at some point, like we did here. This is the most important part. So it all comes down that the center is really important and you should fight it, if not on the first moves, then later, but you definitely should. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.